Hey, this is Doug Beaumont, and this is my channel all about philosophy of religion, Christian theology, and apologetics. Today I want to talk a bit about paganism. There is a YouTuber named Bjorn Andreas Bull-Hansen, and he is a Viking culturist, bushcrafter, general outdoorsman, and he does quite a bit of talking in kind of the political, cultural realm, specifically on those topics. My interest in him was sparked because of my other big interest, which is hiking, camping, and backpacking. I actually have an entire other YouTube channel about that, which I will mention in a minute. But what brings me to discuss him today is that he recently put out a video on paganism and Christianity's role in extinguishing it, or trying to, from Northern Europe. Now, while I generally appreciate Bull-Hansen's outlook on life, when he turned to religion, apparently for the first time, at least that I've known of, he made some claims that people taking the religion literally and not seeing it for just being symbolic of nature and human psychology are ignorant. He calls them rude if they think that nature worship is part of it. But let's face it, that is pretty much the standard definition of paganism. The other claim that he makes is that Christianity is at fault for getting rid of this beautiful religion, and he is very excited about the fact that several people in Europe, especially young people, seem to be making a return to their pagan roots. Now, the problem with the first claim is that if Bull-Hansen wants to sort of make up a religion and demythologize paganism and put a modernistic kind of scientific spin on things, that's fine. He's free to believe whatever he wants. But to accuse others of being ignorant because they think that paganism is not very charitable. Look, paganism is not just symbolic. You don't make sacrifices to symbols. His main claim in the video is that he is trying to kind of get back to his roots, that people are going back to their people's traditions and cultures that go back 1,000 years before Christianity ruined everything. So, if you're going to claim this traditional cultural heritage, you should present it accurately. And if you want to tweak it, then say you're going to tweak it. But don't call people ignorant or emotional trolls just because they agree with what history actually teaches. If you are interested in the pagan view of our connection with nature and a Christian response, I would direct you over to my hiking, camping, and backpacking channel called Backcountry Pilgrim. I'll put a link to it in the description below. You see, paganism and Christianity can both explain that feeling of connection and that awe that many of us, I would say most of us, feel when we go out into nature. But since both faiths can account for the phenomena, we need to elevate our investigation beyond subjective feelings to objective truths to discover which one is true. And that is something I'm going to be doing on this channel, where in the next several months, I'm going to be presenting a case for Christianity from the ground up. So if you are interested in that, you might want to hit that subscribe button and also click that bell so that you'll be notified when new videos come out. Now, Bull-Hansen also says that what happened 1,000 years ago was that Christianity in Norway was forced upon people by violence and threats of death and torture. He calls Christianity a political tool for globalization. And while he doesn't outright attack Christianity for doing so, it's pretty clear from the video and the comments that he makes that he thinks it was hugely problematic for his people. Now, right off the bat, you've got to appreciate the irony of a Viking complaining about hostile takeovers. Bull-Hansen doesn't come out and blame Christianity as such for the decline of paganism, but his overly simplistic historical summary could leave someone with that understanding. Let's talk a little bit about the actual history of the Vikings and Christianity, and then I will sum up. The Viking Age is said to have begun in AD 793 with an attack by the Vikings on the Lindisfarne Monastery in northeastern England. However, the conversion of Vikings to Christianity occurred without violence for the most part. English and Frankish Christian priests and monks had been making missionary tours through the Viking lands from the 700s to the 800s. However, the conversion of the Vikings took place over several centuries. Even when a Scandinavian king became Christian and proclaimed that his people were Christian, many still practiced their pagan ways and held to the old gods. The king's declared views would eventually trickle down to the rulers and nobility and the common people, who basically were just trying to stay in the good graces of their superiors and take advantage of any political gains that becoming a so-called Christian might give them. Christianity also became known to the Vikings through their practice of stealing women and children for wives and slaves. Now, that is not to say that no one ever claiming the title Christian ever attempted to spread it by force. Charlemagne comes to mind, the warrior king who joined himself to Christianity. But the obligation of Vikings to become Christian didn't actually occur until AD 995 with Olaf Tryggvason. Tryggvason revolted against the pagan king Hakon Jarl, and Christianity came to Norway. King Olaf proceeded to convert Norwegians to Christianity by force. He burned pagan temples and killed Vikings who wouldn't convert. So, ironically, it was actually the Viking people whose violence led to paganism's forceful overthrow, and not Western European Christians. But even if there were the occasional Christian leader that made the attempt, the fact of the matter is that this is just what everyone was doing in those times. Things like religion and marriage were not often considered matters of free will. The faith of the ruler of a people, which was often chosen for politically expedient means, became the faith of the people by default, especially conquered people, as overcoming their religion was said to prove the superiority of the gods of the conquerors. This is not to excuse the practice, but there are cultural things that Christians did not immediately overturn. Just because every single Christian didn't immediately get the total ethical ramifications of every bit of their faith and culture, that does not speak ill of the faith itself. The more important question is who got it changed. It was Western civilization that brought freedom to the forefront. It was certainly not the Vikings. I hope this video has helped you out. If it has, would you mind giving it a like and subscribe to Douglas Beaumont if you are into philosophy of religion, Christian theology, and apologetics. Until next time, God bless.